For today's look, I'm going to be doing Rita Repulsa from the new Power Rangers movie, and of course I wanted to do a look which was the villain, just because the villains tend to be a little bit cooler and a lot more fun to recreate. So I'm going to be drawing this on today. There aren't really that many prosthetics. The only prosthetic I made is the little piece over my ear to make it look like I had some metal implants, but otherwise everything else is going to be very simple, just using a few eyeshadows. I've already blotted out my eyebrows and applied my foundation, and now we're going to start doing the shapes on Rita's forehead. You need to think of it a little bit like how you're doing the flux capacitor on the DeLorean. It's that kind of triangular shape. So I'm going to be using a very light shade of very pale brown and then a slightly darker brown right around the edges, applying it with a brush and then blending it out with my fingers to get a very smooth edge. And then I'm going to keep going over it. And then with a lighter highlighter, and I'm going to be using a pale which is about 2 to 3 shades a little bit lighter than my own skin tone. I won't be using a pure white. It never tends to look that good if you use a pure white. It doesn't matter how pale your skin is. And then I'm going to start outlining the other shapes as well. There's a little bit of a curve just underneath her jaw, and then she has 3 lines down her chin. So I'm going to be repeating the whole thing I've done previously with a highlight, a shade, and then blending out with my fingers. As for the eye makeup, again it's very simple. You want to do a line underneath your lower lid. The easiest way to do this is to squint, and then just above where you get that crease on your lower lid, draw the line there, and then you're going to wing that out along the side of your face, and you're going to have exactly the same line on the upper lid. Now for the eyeshadow, what you want to do is in the inner corner, try and keep that as close to the inner corner as you can, but then on the outer corner you're going to really thicken it up and then bring it out to connect to that line. We're not going to be blending it for the moment, just apply the colour. Once you've applied the colour, then you can go ahead and blend it out, and then you're going to be repeating that whole process on the other eye. Again, I'm going to squint and I'm going to do a line all the way into the inner corner, and then with whatever's left on your brush, you're going to go into the very inner corner, just underneath the brow, and blend up a little bit. Now for those little gold metal pieces which go through her skin, I'm going to be using a combination of 2 different golds. I'm going to be using this face paint originally, just to get the basic colour down. So you're going to have that little V shape there, and then another V shape just on your cheek, except this one's going to be a little bit more elongated, and you're going to have a rounded edge, and that's just using the face paint, and then another one which is going to curl around underneath your ear. Now I'm going to be using a lighter gold, and this is going to go down the centre. Don't cover up everything that you've already painted. This has to go down the centre as a highlight. And then over that I'm going to be using that same white, well not white, but very pale concealer, and using that as a highlighter. That's going to go as a highlight on the gold and then also around the edges before we go back to those eyeshadows, and we're going to be creating a little bit more shading around that highlight to look as if it's actually gone underneath the skin and made that skin bulge up a little bit. I'm going to do another line just behind it. I'm going to blend out with brushes and my fingers as well, and then that's it. You're done.